You're listening to Popcorn and Politics. What's the real deal? Hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney and Derek J. Wilson. Asking the hard-hitting questions you want answers to from political leaders and political hopefuls from around the world.
Good afternoon. This is Derek J. Wilson. I am the host this afternoon. My co-host Audrey Bell Carney had prior engagements, but we have a special guest with us today. We have the one and only Miss Tye Whitley out of Savannah, Georgia. So you live in Savannah, or you live in the surrounding area?
No, I'm in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay, out of Savannah, Georgia. So hi, welcome to Popcorn and Politics. How are
Thank you
you
for
today?
having me. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. So this is my first time hosting it by myself. So I am, although I've been in public arenas and whatnot, I still have a little nerve in me. So we gonna navigate these waters together. Um, Before we jump into introducing who you are, I wanted to just briefly talk about the State of the Union that took place over this past week. Uh, just wanted to just acknowledge that we, as a popcorn and politics progressive radio that's broadcasting on American One Radio, we are aware of the State of the Union and the things that's going on, as well as the situation that's happening overseas between Russia and Ukraine. So with that being said and that being acknowledged, let's jump into this race that we have down there in Savannah for the
Mhm.
school board president. So, Ms. Whiteley, tell us who you are and what are you running for?
Okay. I am Tye Whitley, born and raised in Savannah, Georgia. So I am a product of the school system down here. I am also a mom of 3 children that are currently in the school system. So not only have I benefited from the school system, I am now working in the school system with our kids. I'm also a wife. I am a small business owner. We have a early education center down here in Savannah, and the whole goal is to make sure that children are ready for school when they leave our center. I am running because I believe in this school system. I believe we have the best and brightest kids right here in Savannah, Georgia, and I want to make sure that we are working to make sure that our school system prepares them for the future so that they are viable, either if they want to go to college or if they want to go into the workforce. They need those skills. So I want to work with our board and our superintendent to make sure that our students are ready. And I want to communicate with the local community, because if we don't know what's going on in our system, if we are not knowledgeable, how can we advocate for our children? So I want to bring that to the position of school board. And of course, I know the decisions that they make at the top, how they affect us here on the bottom. So I just want to merge that gap and do what we can to make sure our kids have a good education.
Yes, ma'am. So for those of us who's not familiar with the structure of the school board, how is the school board structure? I see there's a school board president, and what does that role entails? If you can explain that to those who are not familiar with it.
Right. So the school board is broken up by district. We have 8 districts in our school board, our school system rather, and then it is governed by the school board president. So the school board president helps set the agenda. Along with the school board, they pass policy that we all have to follow in the school system. They pass the budget and they hold the superintendent accountable. So those are their main things that they do. And working together, they help, support the superintendent, giving her the funds that she needs to hire teachers, the policy she needs to support those teachers and the students, and then collaborating with her to make sure that she always has what she needs to, prop up our school system, because she's the CEO of our school system.
Okay, awesome. So with that being said, it's a Is your seat a county-wide seat since you don't have to do the district's county-wide seats?
Correct. So I am running for Savannah Chatham County. So that includes, I believe, 8 municipalities and unincorporated Savannah. So all of our school system encompasses all of those things. And so whereas you would have a candidate who's running for one district, I'm running for countywide. So everyone can vote for me.
Oh, okay. And so I guess all this hoopla that's going on down there at the state capitol about county maps and that doesn't affect your race in particular. But were there any changes or anything on the with the Chatham County races maps?
So it won't affect me because I'm running county-wide, but for instance, all of our people who are running in those districts, it may affect them because their district may shift. And
Mhm.
so they may gain or lose constituents. So that I think is very important that we get that situated as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So they know who their constituents are, so their constituents know who they're voting for, and it's less confusion, when we get to the ballot box.
And so one of the major news that happened in Gwinnett County, which is a suburb right outside Atlanta, that their school board is now nonpartisan. Is this school board partisan or is it nonpartisan? And if, well, let's get that quick answer first. Yeah.
Yes, we are. This is a nonpartisan race.
So that means your race is determined in May, not November, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Oh, okay. So one of the challenges of the nonpartisan race is turnout, voter turnout. Uh,
Mhm.
not to ask you for your plans, but uh, as a whole, how do you see the voter turnout in Chatham County as far as how can we motivate us to come out and vote?
Right. So I think the first step to that is talking to people and letting people know how it affects them, in their daily lives. Because we can make, a very grand and big picture, but at the end of the day, people want to know how does this affect my family, my children, my work, and making those connections. So going out, talking to people, and letting them know, in my race in particular, the policies that we pass at the board level absolutely affect you and your children, or absolutely affect the way that we are spending your tax dollars. So starting there, and then educating them on early voting, where your precinct is, because that may have changed. If you've moved, you need to update those things. I think when we talk to people and then we educate them, that we can get them out to vote.
Okay, amazing. So you mentioned earlier that you was a small business owner. How does being a small business owner uniquely make you qualified for this position? Because I remember you state that this position handles budgeting and whatnot. So how does that incorporate with your small business?
Right. So I have always been an advocate for education. So I love to read. I love children. I love exposing them to, new opportunities from birth. 95% of their brain is already, connected. The connections are there by the time they go to school. So with my small business, this would be the second large center that I've opened, and the focus is on education. So I have brought the policies from the state level to children here at the local level, making sure that we follow the Georgia Early Learning and Development Standards, which lead directly into what they'll be learning in school. So that foundation. So just from the nature of my small business, it is education, but it's education for the younger folks and getting them ready. As far as a budget, the first center that I opened, with the help of my team, we turned that into a multi-million dollar center. And I understand that I need subject matter experts on my team. We cannot do this alone. Just like I cannot run my small business alone, we cannot operate the board alone. So collaboration is key in my leadership style. I am a servant leader wherever I go. So talking to those people who are around me, bringing the community input, bringing in those people who are experts in the matter to make decisions. So I've done that as a small business owner, and I think bringing that over to the board is very important as well. I also understand when it comes to the workforce and having quality workers, that starts with our kids in school, right? So if they don't have access to good programming, if we haven't brought out their full potential in school when they graduate, how are they going to be a viable, part of our workforce? So all of that is connected in like my day-to-day runnings of the small business, but it's also, I apologize, it's also connected to our school and our community. So I think bringing that perspective as school board president will help, us ensure that we're making decisions that always positively impact our school system.
Yes, that's amazing. As a small business owner myself, I love to see when we step up and be part of the community, and in particular with education, because a thriving education system helps the thriving community, which helps businesses grow.
Correct.
And it just helps. It's a entire cycle. So that's great. Um, Also, I see on your website one of your, I guess, platform items is a fully funding our schools, uh, especially the most in need. And I like that because as we're aware, schools tend to not be equally yoked, as we can put it. So uh, how do you plan to make sure that school that so happen to be in a low income area is equally yoked and matched up financially and have the same opportunities as that school that's in a more affluent neighborhood?
Right. So our school system gets its funding from multiple streams. So I was just on a call yesterday where we found out that 43% of our schools are funded by local dollars. So 43% of our budget comes from local dollars, right? About 50% of that comes from the state, and 7% comes from the federal government. So we need to ensure that the funds that we get are spread out evenly, but focusing on those schools who may be Title I schools or who may be in areas where tax dollars don't always reach, there, but finding alternative funding, grants, but going in to make sure that we are not leaving them out. I will give you an example. When I was the PTA president at one of our local schools, we wrote a grant, or I wrote a grant rather, to get more up-to-date books for them. Our kids were reading, things like Pete the Cat and Captain Underpants and Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Those were books that were popular at that time and were they didn't have as many copies in the library. Right. What is our goal? Our goal is to get students to read. How can we get them to read? By having things that they want to read. Right. So we reached out and we got alternative funding to build a book nook in that school. It was a Title I school, and we found funds to do that. Okay. So I think that we need to focus on the needs of each individual school and then fund those needs. Sometimes it's outside of the realm of public education to get those funds because they are so dependent on, tax dollars or what the state gives and what the federal government gives. but being resourceful and trying to meet the needs by finding alternative ways to fund things in our school systems. Again, especially in those systems or those schools where they may not have those resources.
Right. So does that tie into your close partnerships with the local government, the businesses in the community? That
It
ties.
most it most definitely does. I am very I think having those partnerships with the county, with the local municipalities, pooling our resources to make sure that we can get students, the things that they need. Again, we cannot do this alone. Each of us are connected. We may not have the best ideas, when it comes to helping children in a certain area, but listening to the community, and they say, if they say we need more parks, or we need more tutoring, or we need more wraparound services, then listening to them and meeting their needs, and carving out space in the budget to meet those needs.
All right. So as we know, the last, I guess it's been 2, 3 years now that we've been in the
Hmm.
pandemic. Um,
Yes.
my fourth grade daughter last had a regular school year. She was in second grade. Um, and so uh, and my daughter fell victim at it as well, but a lot of kids end up falling behind
Hmm.
because um, you know virtual learning is just not for everyone. And so um, what is your plan, or your plan of making sure that those kids, or the kids in general, that have fell behind due to the having to adjust due to a pandemic, how can we ensure that these kids get back on track and don't fall victim into the school to prison pipeline? That's a whole nother situation in itself.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as a board, what can we do? I don't like to delve into the what the superintendent does, because again, she is the CEO of the school system.
Right.
But how can we help her close those gaps? Funding. We can help her through funding and through the budget. Um, Policies, the policies that we set forth to ensure that students can get those resources when they fall behind. I can personally attest to that, because we had a one of our children who entered high school during the pandemic, and one who entered high school right after. I guess we're still in the pandemic, but this school year when they were allowed back in the building. And we see those learning gaps. But how can we meet those needs? Well, we can make sure that we're providing, sources like tutoring services, or reading specialists, or math specialists, so that we can ensure that the gap lessens. Those children that graduated during the pandemic, did they get what they needed? you know um Having something over the summer, or meeting those kids where they are, so that they can get those skills that they may have missed during the pandemic. So we can help by funding those positions and making sure that the money is there, and listening to the superintendent and her staff and the teachers, and making sure that they have the tools they need to teach those kids.
Yes. Yeah. And do you have any comment on the school to prison pipeline, the situation? That's how third grade is, the test results from third grade unfortunately determines how many beds
Yep.
if they need to build a new prison, and how many beds are needed. uh, is there any way that in your county, you guys are making sure from a board level that these kids are prepared, and so to cut down on the school to prison pipeline, uh, you know, what's the word, formula that they're using? Is there any way that you guys could, from a policy level, make sure that that's lowered versus increased?
Right. So policies that recruit, maintain, and support quality teachers. how do we ensure that our kids are reading by third grade level, right? It is by catching it before they get to third grade. So teachers are in the classroom. They work with the students every day. They can refer them when they're having issues. We can work to have smaller groups in the classroom to address those needs. But we have to fully fund those positions, and then we have to make sure that we have the budget to bring in qualified staff to do that. I don't think that we need to wait until the third grade to see when students are at their prime level. We should start that in kindergarten and pre-K, because students come to us at different levels, right? You may have a student who has been exposed to 1,000,000 words before they get to school, and you may have a student who's been exposed to 200,000 words, when they get to school. But once they are in our schools, taking that child, it's called, individualized instruction. We take that one child, meet them where they are, and give them the resources so that by the time they get to the third grade, they are where they need to be. And we don't have to, project our prison sizes based on, those children that we should have gotten early on.
Right. I agree. And that usually affects, minority communities and low income communities. So I agree. One of your platform items is transparency and communication. In this day and age where a lot of people feel like their their politicians and are not as transparent as they would like. How do you see yourself going in and changing that culture that people feel is not there when it comes down to their politics?
Right. So I have been working with our teachers, with the PTA, with our local leaders before I ran for office. And it's the same thing, talking to them, going into their schools. How can we help you? Letting them know what our plan is. Just because we have something on a website does not mean that it's accessible to
Right.
everyone, right?
Right. Yeah.
So meeting those people where they are, and navigating those channels. So where are we going to find our moms? When they drop off, when they pick up, at PTA meetings, at church, at community events. That is where we need to bring what we're doing to them, and not always expect them to come to us to find out the information.
Yes. Yes. That's one of the issues that I guess fought for here in Gwinnett County is to think outside the box when it come down to reaching out to the residents that we serve in our community. So that's great to hear that's part of your platform. Uh, and so as I continue to look over your extensive experience, I see that you're heavily involved in the community. You've been on the PTA since 2011. That's
Yes.
Head Start president, and so you're definitely entrenched in education, support of our youth. One of my platforms when I myself ran for office was early childhood education, which that's what your business is in, early childhood education. Um, I think you touched on it a little bit before earlier, but how important is early childhood education? Uh, is for the children, and does Chatham offer early childhood? Does the Chatham School District offer early childhood education, or is it a separate entity outside of the school district?
Right. So the school system has gotten into early childhood education, which is exciting,
Yeah.
because that's an option where parents don't have to pay. And I'm always for opportunities that's not going to cost our parents and our community anything. So I think that's great. They've gotten in on that. They're noticing the importance of that. If you do not prepare children during that time where their brains are sponges, right? They're picking up everything. If you don't use that opportunity in those years to prepare them for what we know is coming, then we have missed an opportunity. And we find our kids are not ready academically, socially, emotionally for
Yeah.
school. How can we rectify that? By providing good early education options. We do have an early education center. We've been open for actually in the midst of the pandemic, July 2020, but we set our sights on immediately becoming quality rated. Why? Because that offers children the next level of education. It gives us opportunities to immerse them in things. When kids are young, they don't even know that they're learning, they're just having fun.
Right.
I don't know that jumping is going to help me with my, my gross motor skills, or that when I'm coloring, that's going to help me with my fine motor skills. They don't
Right.
know that. But, teachers will be all the more grateful when they get those kids and they've already held a pencil or
Right.
scissors. They already have those independent skills, going to the bathroom, communicating. So I think that it is vital in our community really across the United States that we have those opportunities. And unfortunately, over the pandemic, we've seen, early childhood education take a really big hit
Yeah.
because we're frontline workers. We don't have the
Right.
opportunities to teach from home.
Oh.
And what I'm
Right.
I'm hoping is that we continue to support those small businesses, that we continue to have opportunities where parents, no matter their income level, have access to early childhood education for their kids, because it is very important.
Yes. Yes. I remember. Well, my mom, because I'm a parent of two, and we used to always be like, well, who taught them such and such? My mom used to always say, more is caught than taught, because
Mm-hmm.
like you said, at that age group, they're sponges, you
Yep.
know, and I love that age. I have a high schooler as well, and I kind of wish we can go back to the to the
Yes.
sponge years,
Hmm.
And so as we again to wrap this up and learn more about you and your experience and your life, I see that you are Army vet, so thank you for your service. And what is a good way that people can reach out to you to learn more about you and your campaign?
So I am not an Army vet. My husband is an Army vet. However,
Oh, I'm sorry.
However, I was a former Army wife, and so we support those who serve.
Right. It
Um,
did say the wife of an Army veteran. I
yes,
apologize.
yes. But to find out more information about me, you can visit my website, www.vote the number four Tye.com. Our whole platform is there. You can reach out to us, email us. If you think that you have good ideas, teachers, community members, those who are elected, hit us up, because we do want this to be a collaborative campaign. And that's how you get in touch with us.
And when is the election for your race? Make sure they know that this is not a primary, but your race.
This is not a primary. So the primary is my election. Vote May 24th, 2022 for Tye Whitley for school board president.
Yes. And if you would like to volunteer, people need to sign up to volunteer. I notice candidates be coy when they get on the show. So I would do this for you. All campaigns need donations. All campaign need volunteers. uh, if anyone would like to learn more about Miss Tye Whiteley and her race, if you like to donate to her campaign, if you'd like to sign up to volunteer for her campaign, please visit vote for Tye, that's TYE.com. And I'm sure that she'll be excited for your donation, excited for your time and volunteering. Um, did we miss anything? Did I miss anything? Make sure.
No, sir, you are an expert, and I appreciate it.
Well, I've been in that seat, and I for one have a hard time asking for money and asking for help, and so I try to ease candidates as they get on here to I do it for them because we all know that well, most people don't know that a campaign needs funds, and so
Exactly.
and it need bodies, it need time and treasure, and so
Yep.
if we want to be to be a part of this process, we have to volunteer. We have to put some money into it. So I'm well aware of that. And we want to make sure that we have great representation on all levels of our policies, from education to local, state, and federal representation. So thank you for all that you do in the community, as well as thank your husband for his service and then your service of being his wife. So thank you for that. I
Thank
will
you.
wrap it up unless you have any questions. Like I said, it's my first time doing it by myself. Usually we have a co-host that we be bouncing things off each other, but we're gonna
No,
make this
you
work
you
today.
did a you did an excellent job solo.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
thank you. This is being broadcast all over the place on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, YouTube, as well
awesome.
as American One Radio. Uh, and so, you know, we have it on record that I did a great job by myself.
There
So,
you go.
with that being said, I want to thank everyone for watching and listening to us today. I know the show is shorter than usual, but we want to just make sure that we get the information out about Miss Whiteley and the school board. Her race is a nonpartisan race. It is election day is Tuesday, May 24th. Please go out to vote if you live in Chatham County. It's only
Yes,
Chatham County, right?
it's only Chatham County, but
Yeah.
all the cities in Chatham County are able to
All the
vote.
s- all the cities in Chatham County, as well as the unincorporated sections as well.
Correct.
Correct. And so thank you all, and see you next week.
Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to Popcorn in Politics. What's the real deal? Hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney and Derek J. Wilson. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your family and friends. To support the show, visit us on the web at www.popcorninpolitics.com. Connect with us on Facebook at Progressive Popcorn and on Instagram at Popcorn Politics Podcast.